Yeah, so data is important to give voice, I think, firstly to poor consumers, ordinary consumers that don't otherwise have a voice. So that data brings some of their voice into policy making, and that's critical. Secondly, I think it's proven over time that evidence-based policy making is the most effective, and data and research is the critical way in which you can gather that evidence, or else you make policy, you make strategy that doesn't reach the intended people that you want to reach. So and then also to measure progress, obviously. The work that we do, particularly around the FinScope surveys that we carry out, allows countries to have a baseline for the extent of financial inclusion of their populations, and we do it every few years so that they can track progress in this regard. So those are the key aspects around data and research.
Okay, and what is your most recent data review about the state of financial inclusion, and are there any trends or challenges that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, I think there's a number of trends that are beginning to emerge. One is that there's certainly not an alignment between the increased percentage of the population being included in the financial sector and their livelihoods and the extent of poverty and inequality. Those two metrics seem to be going in opposite directions. Which means that we need to rethink what we mean by financial inclusion so that we reformulate it to have a more direct impact on people's livelihoods. There's a number of other trends that come out as well. I think one, certainly within Southern Africa, is that mobile money wallets seem to be overtaking bank accounts, and banks in many countries in the Southern African region are not very happy with this. But again, it points to what is in the interest of consumers, and consumers are voting with their feet. The other issue is around the usage of financial products. So we've had a huge increase in bank accounts, mobile money wallets, but the usage of those is still very low. And so what we say is that people are basically using it as a post box. They get it every month, and then they draw all the funding and they transact in cash. So those are some of the key trends. There are many more. I'm sure we don't have time to go through all of them now.
That's interesting, very interesting.
Yes.
What are some of your main messages to central bank and financial regulators during your meetings this week?
Yeah, I think one of the key ones is firstly to look at the data properly, and to base policy and regulatory interventions on the basis of evidence. Also, this issue about needing to go beyond measuring only bank accounts and mobile money wallets as access. We need to be looking much more closely at usage, the quality of financial inclusion, as well as the contribution it makes to people's livelihoods, their incomes, the jobs. Those are some of the key messages around financial inclusion. If we don't do that, I think we will lose the importance that financial inclusion is beginning to develop. I think we've seen all of the 85, 87 members of AFI all taking financial inclusion seriously. But if we don't solve that gap between people's livelihoods and financial inclusion, people will lose interest in it as a key intervention.
Okay, and then last question: why are these exchanges with AFI members so valuable for FinMark?
Well, as FinMark Trust, we work with regulators, our key partners and stakeholders. We can't solve any of these problems alone, and regulators are the key people on the one side that that create the regulatory environment. On the other side, of course, our partners is the private sector and civil society organizations. So regulators are key in our world. And many of the programs that we implement in the SADC region are done under the auspices of central banks, who are our key partners in this journey.
Wonderful. I think the length was perfect.
Okay, there you go.
Really good. This is Dougal, actually.
Brendan, I'm sorry I missed the start of that. I had to